Okay, thank you. Good evening, members. Welcome to the Corporate and Regeneration Scrutiny Committee on the 4th of November 2025. This meeting will be live streamed and a recording made available to view via the Council's website, except for discussions involving confidential or exempt items. Therefore, the images, audios of those individuals speaking will be publicly available to all via the recording on the Council's website. Agenda item 1, to receive apologies for absence. Mark?
Thank you, Chair. We've received apologies from Councillors Christine Forehead, Councillor Haas, Councillor Jan Jones, and also Councillor Walter Williams. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, item 2, declarations of interest. Councillors and officers are reminded of their personal responsibility to declare any personal or prejudicial interest in respect of any item of business on this agenda. In accordance with the Local Government Act 2000, the Council's Constitution and the Code of Conduct for both councillors and officers. Are there any declarations?
No hands raised, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item 3, to approve and sign the following minutes. Corporate and Regeneration Scrutiny Committee held on the 24th of June 2025. This is for accuracy only, not debate. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. No. Okay. Can we move in a seconder, please?
Move, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Mansell. Okay, members, to the vote. If you weren't here, you can abstain.
That's carried, Chair. 9 votes for, no votes against, and we have 2 abstentions.
Okay, thank you very much. Agenda item 4, considering of any matter referred to this committee in accordance with the call-in procedure. Mike?
Thank you, Chair. No matters have been called in for this meeting.
Okay, thank you. Item 5, Corporate and Regeneration Scrutiny Committee Forward Work Programme, pages 7 to 20. Mark?
Thank you, Chair. Members are asked to consider the Forward Work Programme in their packs for the Corporate and Regeneration Scrutiny Committee alongside the Cabinet Forward Work Programme, and to suggest any amendments, additions in accordance with Appendix 3 in your packs. The next meeting for this committee will be on the 12th of January. And as you can see from your packs, there will be a report on the Cwmcarn Forest Drive, the new operator for that facility. If members are happy, I'd like to seek permission to publish on the Council's website. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay. Can we move in a seconder, please?
Happy to move, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Thomas and Councillor Mansell.
Poll will come up now, Chair.
Okay, your poll should be coming up now.
That's on your screens.
And just to remind members, we will be discussing the forward programme tomorrow night during the training. So I hope you're all able to attend.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. That's been carried unanimously.
Okay, thank you, members. Item 6, to receive and consider the following Cabinet reports. Has there been any brought forward?
Thank you, Chair. No, none of those Cabinet reports have been brought forward.
Okay then, members, on to the main item of business now tonight. Item 7, Commissioning Review. Councillor Nigel George, Cabinet Member for Corporate Services and Highways.
Thank you. Good evening, members. A part of an All Wales review, Audit Wales received reviewed CCBC's commissioning in 3 areas: floating support and financial capacity, OTAS, and mobilising TCMFILI, as detailed within the report before you. The key findings from the Audit Wales identified weaknesses in the following areas: inconsistent commissioning practice, weak governance and oversight, poor users' needs engagement, lack of strategic coordination, limited evaluation of impact, social value rarely considered. In order to respond to the findings from Audit Wales, the authority undertook a 4-week discovery as part of the All Authority Transformation Programme. Our discovery covered a short, focused internal exercise using a structured template. All service areas were invited to contribute, and 8 service areas responded, offering insight into the current commissioning practices and identified of gaps. Right. Examples of good practice: external benchmarking was conducted via interviews and a desk-based research with other organisations and local authorities, including Denbighshire, Somerset and other Welsh councils. Our findings were in line with those identified by Audit Wales. However, we did find some areas of good practice. The recommendations in response to the Audit Wales report and our discoveries is: the findings were inconsistent practice, poor user engagement, needs engagement, lack of strategic coordination, limited evaluation of impact, undefined roles and responsibilities, no consistent framework or oversight. Each of these points have a planned action against it. Officers will be taking forward our planned actions in line with the transformation programme. Officers are available tonight to answer questions. Audit Wales are now invited to respond after I've read out the recommendations. It's recommended that the Corporate and Regeneration Committee review and note the report as presented by the Audit Wales. None of the worked outcomes of the recent transformation discovery and the recommendations. Action to address the recommendations for improvement will be monitored by Governance and Audit Committee through the regulator tracker. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We have colleagues from Audit Wales. Do you want to say anything now or just wait for questions?
Hi, thanks, Chair. And I'll just quickly go through the report that we've published, if that's okay with you. So just by way of introduction, this audit is part of a national thematic review. We carried it out in all 22 councils of Wales, with a local report being produced for each council. In addition to this local report, Audit Wales intends to publish further work that draws upon our findings across Wales. When we refer to commissioning, we mean the decision-making process that every council uses to decide how best it can deliver its service. It's the process that leads up to the decision on how it will either make, buy, start or stop delivering a service. It's important to note that this review did not extend onto procurement activity or arrangements for managing contracts. Our focus of the audit was to determine the extent that the council's corporate arrangements support and guide services when considering commissioning a service, and the extent that they provide assurance to the council that the decision on which service delivery option offers best value for money consistently considers a minimum range of factors. We also reviewed how the council developed its commissioning arrangements in accordance with the Sustainable Development Principle that will help the council to secure value for money. So we reviewed the council's corporate commissioning arrangements and then tested these arrangements by examining the process of 3 services that have been commissioned, as mentioned, and we consulted with the council when selecting the services that we examined. We met with officers responsible for the 3 services, as well as officers responsible for supporting services through a commissioning process. We conducted this work during the period of September 2024 to January 2025, and this report reflects the arrangements that the Council had in place at that time. The time taken in bringing this report to committee has been to enable Council officers to undertake further work on improvements in response to the report, which officers will obviously go through after this. The overall audit question that we answered was that in commissioning services, does the Council put in place proper arrangements to secure value for money in the use of its resources? And then within our report, we conclude that there are weaknesses in the Council's commissioning arrangements that potentially risk it not securing value for money in the use of its resources. Just as a general point, we have found that many councils in Wales have struggled to demonstrate corporate commission arrangements that are consistently applied across the organisation, and that informs the decision to make or buy and proceed the procurement process. And it's also important to note, and stated in the report, that at the time we completed our audit, the Council was refining its approach to commissioning. However, as the new refined arrangements had not been fully documented or ratified by the Council, our findings are based largely upon the Council's commissioning arrangements at that time. So some of the key strengths that we set out in the report can be found at paragraph 17, and that's that the Council requires service areas to set out a clear definition and explanation of the need for commissioned services, together with their intended outcomes. And at paragraph 18, that the Council considers a range of delivery options before deciding to commission a service. Some of the areas identified as areas to strengthen are in the following paragraphs throughout the report. The report then contains 3 recommendations at page 9. Recommendation 1 is to establish consistent commissioning arrangements. Recommendation 2 was to ensure compliance with its commissioning arrangements. And recommendation 3 was to introduce a regular review of the Council's commissioning arrangements. The Council has completed a management response form stating its actions to address these recommendations. Our Code of Audit Practice requires us to consider the Council's response to our recommendations, and we are satisfied with the Council's response to the recommendations. Thank you to the Council for their support in helping us to undertake this review. Thank you, Chair. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Caitlin. Does the author, Owen, do you want to say anything or wait for questions?
For questions, nothing more than Councillor George has already said, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, members, I got Councillor Mann first, please.
Okay, thanks, Chair. I was interested to know exactly who is going to do the work on this. Obviously, Owen is the author of the report. There's a very long list of consultees. My understanding that it ultimately will come back to Mark Williams and the Cabinet. Maybe that can be confirmed. And what I'd really like to know is what is the timescale for actually making the improvements that are recommended.
Okay. Mark?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Thanks, Councillor Mann. So this is one of our transformation programme projects. I know Liz Lucas has her hand up, bring her in a moment. So it will follow the normal governance process that we have with transformation projects in terms of portfolio board and ultimately cabinet. Thank you.
Okay, Liz, I see your hand up.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Apologies, I couldn't be there with you tonight in person. Just to let you know, as already stated, this will now form one of our transformation programme projects. We will have a multidisciplinary team working on this from across the authority. So all stakeholders who are involved in commissioning will form part of that multidisciplinary team. Owen, who is the author of the report, will be the project lead for that team. And myself, as the head of procurement, will be the sponsor for that in the organisation. So hopefully you'll be able to demonstrate that everybody across the authority who carries out any form of commissioning will be involved in the response to this report.
Okay, thank you, Liz. Owen, do you want to add anything? No?
Nothing further to add, thank you, Chair.
Okay. No. I'm giving you a chance, you know, mate. So.
Chair, could I just, I
come
did
back
ask
in
about
then,
the,
Colin. Yeah, come on.
I did ask about the timescale.
Yeah, the time scale. Anyone got a time scale where we think we're going to be with, Mark?
Chair, I'm happy
Liz
to answer
again?
that. Yeah, I'm happy to answer that, Chair. In relation, Mark has already set out, he will go through our governance process. So we undertook a very short, sharp discovery initially. So now we will start to do more in-depth investigations and response over the next 6 weeks and report back into the Audit and Governance Committee as detailed within the report. We've already made a start on some of this work, and by our engagement with other local authorities, and we're developing a toolkit as we speak now as part of the next 6 weeks programme of work within transformation.
So I still don't know the timescale, but will something come back to this committee when it's
I think
appropriate
6
time?
weeks I kind of heard there, so around.
Councillor Mann,
right,
this is a lot of work to be done in this area. So we're going to be chunking this up in detailed programmes of work, and we'll be excuse me, we'll be starting with 6 weekly reviews of the work that we are doing, but more than happy to come back into this committee, and like I said, the Audit and Governance Committee will oversee that detailed work plan.
Yeah, Liz. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Liz. Councillor Charshon Dawson, please.
Thanks, Chair. I just wanted to ask, as the audit person, Catherine said, about having a plan that will span all sectors of, related to commissioning. Will the new transformation plan, or the one that you're going to formulate, will that cover all? So there's a consistency across all departments.
Mark, Liz, one of you answer that?
I'm happy to answer that again, Chair. Yes, as I've already stated, Councillor, this will form a multidisciplinary team. So it will be all departments within the authority that undertake any form of commissioning will be part of that multidisciplinary team. But we've already agreed as a leadership team that we will take this in different timescales across the authority, because it's too big to do all in one hit. The toolkit that we will develop will cover all service areas, and everybody will have an impact to that, but we will be working with the key elements within social services, education initially, and housing, because they are the biggest commissioners within the organisation. So they will be the people that we will start with initially. But
Okay.
Everybody will be involved, Councillor.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other members? No? You're letting them off the hook tonight? No? Owen, I couldn't even get you in, mate. Sorry. No? Okay, members. I think there was no other questions. Can I thank God to Catherine, you and your colleague, for coming along tonight. And this report will be duly noted then this evening. Okay, members? So thank you all very much. Okay. For officers, it's not needed. You can leave. Okay, so we're going to item 8, the workforce update. That's Nigel, you again, mate. Busy night.
Thank you. Before I begin the introduction, I'd like to take the opportunity to point out an error in the report. If we look at 5.47, it states that in 2022-23, the Council reported 13.69 days lost per full-time equivalent due to sickness and absence. It further goes on to say in 2023-24, this decreased to 13.62. Oh, sorry, increased to 13.62. Obviously, this should read decreased. Thank you. So The purpose of the report is to provide members with an annual update of some of the challenges impacting on the workforce. To summarise, members will recall from the previous workforce reports considered by Council on the 24th of November 2022 and Corporate and Regeneration Committee on the 23rd of September 2024 that the Council was facing some challenges across the whole organisation, many of which were external and common to most other local authorities. These reports provided members with a general information about the workforce, recruitment and sickness. This report provides an update to members on these particular areas, including any challenges being faced, the work already being done and planned to address these challenges. It is important that members have information relating to the workforce and are aware of any challenges and what is being done to try and address them, to ensure that the service continues to be provided to residents in the County Borough. Members are asked to note the report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we have some questions from the pre-meeting. Councillor Powell, please.
Yeah, it's only a quick one. On page 77, 5.31, it shows, I just wanted some clarity on mutual termination. We have discussed it briefly before. 2022, there were 3, 23, 24, 28, 24, 25, 26. And then this year is 15 projected. That looks like it's going to end up about 30. Most of the data on that leavers report is pretty much simple, but I'm just wondering why the big jump from 22 to 23, and could you clearly explain what mutual termination means over resignation?
Mrs. Donovan?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Resignation is where somebody will resign from their post. A mutual termination is an agreement between us as the employer and the employee, and it's normally got trade union support as well in it for members of our staff. It's really difficult to predict numbers. You will appreciate we don't really know what we're dealing with from one day to the next, but hopefully that helps, Councillor, in terms of the reasons for them.
And the other one was the sudden jump from 22, where there were only 3, leading on to 23, 24, where there were 28.
Again, it's really difficult to plan for these things, as you will appreciate. We're just dealing with the circumstances as they arise, and and it's really difficult. It's really hard for me to say to you that we would do a certain number every month. It's not like that. They're all depending on individual circumstances.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Councillor Choyson Dawson.
Thanks, Chair. Where have we looked for solutions to sickness absence, and do other LAs share these achievements to improve these figures, and are they really comparable?
Mrs. Donovan again.
Thank you, Chair. Sickness absence is an issue for all local authorities. And talking to my colleagues across Wales, sickness absence levels are increasing in almost every authority. It's something that we are all facing. If you note in paragraph 5.55, it does state that the Local Government Association has reported on this, and they're saying that the increased absence levels, so the Local Government Association cover not just Wales, it's England they report for, and they say that this could be attributed to a fatigued workforce, shrinking budgets, political challenges, and increasing demands on local government. But yes, Councillor Chacken Dawson, it is a national issue.
The question was actually the strategies. Do we look at the strategies for and achievements for alleviating this, and then compare if we can do the same thing? That's what the question was.
Sorry, Councillor Chacken Dawson, for my misunderstanding. Yes, as directors of HR, we're always having discussions around this. We're having discussions via WLGA. We're all constantly talking about initiatives that we're looking at or any interventions. We're looking to see whether there are similarities in authority, what's worked in some, what's worked in others. But unfortunately, the situation for all of us is sickness absence is rising, but it's certainly something that within Caerphilly we are paying far more attention to now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Enright.
Oh, I didn't expect to come in so quick. Chair, I've got a couple of areas. I don't know how long you're going to let me speak for, but stop me at any time, okay?
I'm in no rush,
So,
Gary.
right, okay. So my initial observations relating to 5.20, 5.29, okay? There appears to be 520 odd joining the authority more than exiting. And that's a little bit of a concern for me in light that we have announced that we need a workforce of between 500 and 600 less than what it currently is. So I'm just wondering, what is the plan moving forward in light that we appear to have more joining than exiting? So that's my first bit. Do you want me to just rattle them off?
No,
and then...
I would do one at a time, Gary, because otherwise we'll get lost. Right, Lynn,
no worries,
maybe Mark on this.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councillor Enright. In terms of the new starters, they could be casual workers or part-time workers. We're always looking for staff within social care. We're always looking for catering staff. We're always looking for cleaning staff. So those new starters could include those. And as I said, they could include casual staff as well.
Sorry, you dipped out there.
Members will be aware that the 600 staff that we are saying we need to lose from the authority, we're talking about 600 full-time equivalent staff, and that's in addition to the work that's going on within the transformation programme as well. But yeah, the new starters could well be casual staff. Often we have initiatives, and we'll look at recruitment drives, for example, for catering for the start of the school year, ready for September. So that would include those numbers.
Mark?
Right, okay.
Yeah, let Mark, Gary, let Mark answer.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Councillor Enright, in 5.20, there's actually 413 new starters, whereas the leavers is 577. The other number in 5.20 are people who moved around within the authority. So we haven't taken on 794 new people. We've actually taken on 413. But there's 577 have left. Thank you, Chair.
Right, unless I've miscalculated, the way I've calculated it, 5.20 joining 1,905.6, exiting 1,384.8. But I won't split numbers, you know, Lynn has explained that. So that's fine. Thanks for that, Mark. Okay, moving forward.
Lynn, right, go on then answer.
Yeah, the new starters of 413 for April to September 25, I'll take that column, and new entrants to the local authority. As Mark has said, internal transfers are those that are having promotional posts or move into other services, and the 794 is the total of those two. So it's just to show you that the HR have processed 794 appointments during that period.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks for that. Okay, so my next question, if I may, I'm just curious as to how many vacancies CCBC currently have unfilled. Is that something you have to your fingerprints?
It's not something we have at the moment, Councillor Enright. But the HR payroll system is able to report on it. So the HR team are currently working with finance to put the budgeted hours into the system. It's quite complicated, taking some time, but we are hopeful that very soon we will be able to report on that.
Right, okay. Next observation, if I may, 5.29, and I'm assuming 5.31 is a breakdown of 5.29. Is that right? So 2022, there's 898 there, and then 5.31, you've got a list then of all the individuals and how they've exited. So that's a breakdown of that, I'm assuming.
Then
It is a breakdown, Councillor Enright, but the figures are not going to marry up.
I was going to say.
Because some of the leavers may be multiple post holders.
Right,
So
yeah,
the
that makes
figures
sense.
are not going to marry up.
Okay, because there's a difference of 106 for some reason. Okay. Next one, Chair, 5.23, competitive salary has been highlighted as a recruitment issue. So moving forward, is there a plan to address that? Are we looking at a supplement maybe, or what's the plan over the next sort of 6 to 12 months to try and alleviate competitive salary being one of the fundamental recruitment issues?
Lynn?
Thank you, Chair. It's difficult, Councillor Enright. We do have some market supplements in place, but for example, when you're looking at competing with the private sector, which we are for our engineers, for example, we're never going to compete with the private sector in terms of their salary. But where we do compete is offering career progression, better terms and conditions. So it's how we work with the service, we're working with colleges and looking to develop those. So as I said, we do have some market supplements in place, but we are fully aware that we're never going to compete with some sectors for some of the salaries.
Okay, thanks, Lynn. Am I okay to carry on, Chair?
Yeah, carry on. No
Yep.
one else is.
Stop me at any time. Stop me any time. 5.39. In light of what I've just highlighted, 500 to 600 potential exits, staff exits over a period of time. And then we're talking about converting agency to permanent within that sort of paragraph. But surely we should be looking to reduce our reliance on agency, which would allow us to keep a certain level of permanent staff. So I'm a little bit confused by that paragraph. Can somebody explain, please?
Then
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, we are reviewing our long-standing agency workers, and some of those are in frontline services. And
Right.
in 5.4, it does state that we are working with services with high agency usage to workforce plan properly. And also we're looking to change the culture of agency reliance by exploring alternative options and reducing the spend. It's something that ELT are monitoring as well. And we don't have agency workers in posts where other people could be in post, and our employers could be in post. And it's something we'll continue to work through.
Right, okay, thanks, Lynn.
can I just add
Chair?
a supplement
Yeah.
there, Gary?
Yeah,
Into that
feel
there.
free.
How much more expensive per head is an agency worker?
It will depend, Chair. For corporate posts, we have a framework within which we operate for the agency workers, and it relates to our own salaries, but there is a slight markup. But we have reduced the spend on that via a recent procurement process. We've got a new provider, and the cost is less.
Right, would we have an overall total each year? How much?
I can look for
Much
look for the information we have, Chair, certainly.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry about that, Gary. Just wanted to...
No, that's fine, Chair. I've split the report into two, obviously, recruitment and retention. So managing attendance now, if I may, 5.47. I'm just curious, and I've based this report on the previous report that was presented to us, I think this time last year, and we don't seem to be including sort of key data. And key data for me, I would like to see where this authority sits now within the other 21 local authorities. So I'm just wondering why we are not benchmarking where we are compared to the other local authorities. Why are we not including that in reports like this? Because I think it's quite crucial.
Lynn?
Thank you, Chair. We all report centrally via WLGA, and that information is confidential. So we're not able to report it publicly through our own reports.
What, you're not able to report a chart of where we sit with the other 21 local authorities? I'm not looking for reasons. The reasons are quite clear.
No,
Other local authorities do, Lynn.
Yeah, but the information on the data sets actually states it is confidential. So that's why it's not included.
Oh, right, okay. Do you know why Carmarthen do then? Just curious.
I have no idea, Councillor Enright, sorry.
Oh, okay. Right. I'll have a look into that one then. 5.48. What has happened with day 50 to day 54? That seems not to have been recorded, unless I've misread it. 5.48. If you have a look at the table, day 50 to day 54 is not recorded.
Sorry, Councillor Enright, that's a typo. It should state 50 to 99.
Lovely, thanks. Where are we to? Yeah, okay. 5.58, Chair. The objectives. Chief Executive's obviously looking for to set some objectives now into reducing the sickness absence, but we appear to be in the same position that we were in 2024. Now, these reports come to us every 12 months, unless you tell me any different. So when are we going to know what those objectives are? Are we looking to reduce it by, I don't know, 12.5 per FTE per year, or are we looking as a percentage? What are we looking to do? Because we don't seem to have moved from 2024.
Mark?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Thanks, Councillor Enright. So the good news we have is that the first 6 months of this year, our sickness figures have come down. They're not in this report because this is in fact a look back. Those will be reported in due course. I'm currently working with Lynn and the other directors indeed in terms of tackling sickness absence. So having some reports run for myself to be able to look at sickness absence right across the authority and hold those exec directors and directors to account for driving it down in their own areas. I think it's really difficult at this stage to just say, actually, you must reduce this by 2%, 3%, 4%.
I get that.
Until I've got under those reports. So there are multiple reasons for sickness absence, and there's some pretty tragic cases across the authority. There's a flip side to that as well, but it's certainly something that I intend to drill into and hold the directors to account for.
Sorry, Chair.
Are we being proactive in trying to drive down sickness absence? And if so, what are we doing?
So we've just rolled out a load of mandatory training for managers. Things like having difficult conversations with people, etc., sickness policies, working with the trade unions in terms of getting them on board with it as well. I think we are being as proactive as we can.
Before you come in then, we do know we are asking our staff to do more for less. Cuts year after year after year after year. Is that a big part of why people's getting stressed and all that there? Is this part of the reasons? Lynn?
Chair, there's nothing coming through on the sickness data that we're having that would indicate that. You'll notice within the report the work-related stress has risen from previous years in terms of an overall reason for absence, but there are no patterns coming through. There is nothing specific in a service area where it's increasing, so there's nothing that would indicate that that we're seeing so far.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Gary. Back to you.
No, it's fine.
Sorry,
I
Chair,
just
can
got.
I just mention
Let her
something?
finish that first question you asked.
In 5.6, you will note there's a comparison from April to September this year in terms of FTE days lost and the percentage absence compared to the same period last year. And you'll see that there are a reduction in all of those for the same period. So whilst we appear to be going in the right direction, we're all acknowledging it's still too high. And also in paragraph 5.58, there are some actions in there that either we have already undertaken or that we're planning to deliver to address sickness absence, so that they capture some of the things that Mark said as well.
Thank you. Gary?
That last one from me, Chair. I think overall, there are some positives there, and I think one of the things that I mentioned last time, this local authority has all his services still in-house, still has waste, still has housing, and there's a lot of local authorities that don't have that. So from that perspective, you would expect our sickness levels to be higher than most local authorities. So, that from a positive, that from my perspective is a positive, really. But there's just one additional plea, I suppose, is at some point we have to get our head around how much this is costing. And I get the sensitive nature, there are some difficult cases, as Mark has highlighted, and I don't want to use cost as, well, this is costing us 5 to 10 million, so we've got to remove the first 3 days. But I think from a business perspective, at some point we're going to need to get our heads around how much this is costing our local authority and apply a policy that supports everything, both cost, both employee, because at the moment there's key data that's missing. It's the level of chart. How do we benchmark between other local authorities and maybe the National Health Service so we don't beat ourselves up too much? And then from an organizational perspective, how much is that actually costing us? Is it 5 to 10 million? Is it 3 to 9 million? Is it, a finger in the air job? We can calculate it, and I'm sure somebody behind the scenes has. And I can understand why you wouldn't want to publicize it, for obvious reasons. But I think that data is needed at some point. Thank you, Chair. That's everything for me.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Lynn, do you want to?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think the important thing to remember is our sickness payments are in line with national conditions. So the council doesn't have a choice in terms of what we pay. They are national conditions, and I think that's important for members to note.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Mann, from one deputy to another.
Aye, Deputy Dog, Chair. Yeah, sorry, I may miss it, but I don't think I did. Is there any particular authority that we're looking to learn how to improve the situation? As my colleague pointed out a couple of minutes ago, this is a substantial cost to the authority, and in fact, we have had figures on a confidential basis in the past. I imagine it's running into millions. And I think as councillors are responsible for the running of the authority, we should actually know what those figures are.
Lynn, any?
Thank you, Chair. As I said earlier, Councillor Mann, we are constantly working as directors of HR and WLGA to look at anybody that's having some success in reducing sickness absence, what we can learn from each other. But it's very difficult, and as I said, nearly every authority is facing an increase in sickness absence. In terms of the cost, is certainly something I can talk to our Director of Finance about as to whether we're able to do something with that.
I think,
Colin... So does that mean, Chair, we haven't actually identified any particular place that we can go to? Maybe there isn't anywhere, I don't know.
Well, Colin, in my industry, sickness is sky high as well. And I don't know of anywhere that's any different. If people had the answer, no one would be on the sick, and that's the reality of it is now. Everyone across whatever sector in are being asked to do more for less, and it's just mental health has gone through the roof.
Well, obviously, there's a huge difference between the public and private sector. There are reasons for that, but it's costing us a huge amount of money.
I totally disagree. You're an employee, no matter who you work for, whether it's a private or a public sector, there's no difference.
I'm talking about the figures, Chair.
Well, yeah. I could tell you about some in my industry, some of the figures. It will make this here look like a good place to work for. So, but have you got another question, Colin?
Not particularly, Chair. I was just wondering where there was good practice we can learn from, but it appears that we're struggling to know that.
Well, I think they're trying to learn from each other, aren't they? So if anyone had the magic bullet, they would sell it, wouldn't they?
Quite possibly. Thank you, Chair.
You would like to think so anyway. Okay, thank you very much. There's no other ones answering, so the recommendations are on page 71 of your packs. Members are asked to note the content of this report. which I think we've done well tonight. So thank you, Gary. Thank you, Lynn. Okay, members, we are on to next. Let me see, over 2 pages. Item 8, the UK's government's Shared Prosperity Fund. Councillor Leonard Stannard, Cabinet Member for Finance and Performance. Oh, no, we got our leaders actually taking it tonight. Can I ask the new leader, Councillor Jimmy Pritchard, please? You on it?
Many thanks, Gary. Okay, I'm not sure what to say to that. Thanks, Chair. The purpose of this report is to provide an update to the Scrutiny Committee on the delivery of the UK Government Shared Prosperity Fund within Caerphilly County Borough as a part of the UK Government's Levelling Up programme. The UK Shared Prosperity Fund was a central pillar of the previous UK Government's Levelling Up agenda and a significant component of its support for places across the UK. It provided £2.6 billion of funding for local investment to be spent between April 22 and March 2025, with all areas of the UK receiving an allocation from the fund via a funding formula. As the Cabinet Member for Regeneration, since the inception of the SPF programme, I've seen the benefits this programme has delivered across the county borough. In order to monitor spend and to prioritise areas of investment, we formed an SPF board with Cabinet Member and officer participation, and we made decisions based on the criteria for the fund, which were communities in place. Investment priority was to enable places to invest, to restore their community spaces and relationships, and to create the foundations for economic development at neighbourhood level. The intention of this was to strengthen the social fabric of communities, supporting building pride in place. Supporting local businesses, the investment priority was to enable places to fund interventions that support local businesses to thrive, innovate and grow. And the people in skills, investment priority was to provide funding to support them to move towards employment and education. And this theme can also target funding into skills for local areas to support employment and local growth. A list of some of the projects that were delivered is in 5.17, but for a more comprehensive view, this can be found in the Appendix 3. I'm pleased to say that our spend across the 3 pillars were fully committed in 24-25. I would like to thank officers for their hard work on this. Information circulated following the spending review indicated from a Welsh case the majority of the funding that is available for regeneration activities is expected to be focused on 2 key programmes. These are the Local Growth Fund and Investment in Deprived Community programme. More recently, the UK Government has made an announcement that a number of communities across the UK will benefit from a programme called Pride in Place, which is a revision of a previously announced Plan for Neighbourhoods initiative. In Phase 1, 5 towns were selected across Wales for long-term funding support. As part of Phase 2 of this programme, an additional 9 local authorities across Wales will receive £20 million over a 10-year period to spend in a targeted community that is yet to be determined. And the funding will be predominantly capital programme and will require the creation of a neighbourhood board. At the time, since the announcement of a short-term capital programme was made by the UK Government as an extension of the Pride in Place programme called the Impact Fund, and all 22 local authorities in Wales will receive an allocation of £1.5 million to support the development and enhancement of a community spaces, public spaces and high street town centre improvements. The fund is to be split over 2 financial periods, that's 25-26 and 26-27, and could be spent across the county borough. At this point, there is no clear pathway identified regarding the allocation of both the Local Growth Fund or the Pride in Place Fund, which I must say is frustrating. Although the 1.5 million capital funding through the Pride in Place Impact Fund is more known, a Cabinet report is being prepared which will recommend that the Regeneration Board will oversee this funding stream. Community groups are to be invited to come forward, and we will ensure that specific criteria is shared. Moving to the recommendations, Chair, they outlined in 3.1 as to note the detail of the UK Shared Prosperity Fund update in the first quarter monitoring report and the opportunities for the programme to contribute to the Council's own place shaping, transformation and regeneration agendas, and 3.1 One, to recognise the progress officers and stakeholders have made in mobilising a significant investment programme within the time constraints afforded by the funding programme. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Leader. Okay, members, we have some Councillor Chorson Dawson.
Thanks, Chair. Have the Youth Forum been involved in finding barriers to work and training and areas to improve the community when deciding to spend the Shared Prosperity Fund? And I've got another question. Shall I ask it after, or?
Yeah. Let Jamie.
I've been present with the Youth Forum when they attended a workshop. I think that was more on the regeneration point of view. I'm not sure if it's specifically about the SPF program, but I know I don't think we've got education colleagues with us right now, but I know they are involved in forming ideas about the wider regeneration plans from the council. They may or may not have contributed to the SPF discussions, but I know they're interested, obviously, with wider regeneration.
Okay, Marion.
There's a part missing. Areas to improve the community. Were they asked about what they thought was areas that they could improve the community, such as town centres? Because I know there was a project for town centres.
Leader.
I don't sit on the Youth Forum, Marina, but I know from my conversations with our cabinet member that the Youth Forum regularly discuss regeneration projects across the borough. So I can find out the information for you, but in terms of the SPF report, I can't give you that answer as things stand.
What I'm trying to assess is who was involved in these decisions? How did you formulate where to spend the money?
Paul?
Yes, thanks, Chair. If I can come in. Yeah, I mean, this is sort of the fourth year of the programme. The initial programme was 22 to 25. So within the sort of short timescales that needed to be sort of delivered in terms of an investment plan, we had to rely on workshops that were held with different sort of stakeholders. Didn't include the Youth Forum, but it did include a lot of different regeneration, business support, training organisations, and feedback from the Caerphilly conversation and what the authority has had fed back over a period of years in terms of their priorities. So those were broad topics and broad themes that fed into the investment plan. The current plan is an extension of that 2022-25 plan in terms of the transition year with a lot less money. So it's looked at the base of projects and programs that we were running for the first 3 years and looked at those that didn't need any subsequent sort of funding and those that could continue to carry on delivering what they were delivering. They have to fit into the broad themes, supporting local business, community development, people and skills, and the sort of the fourth pillar, which wasn't a statutory a requirement of this current programme, the multiply programme, which was part of the first 3 years.
Yeah, that's my next question. But I just wanted to, the reason I emphasise the Youth Forum is because that intelligence is key to finding barriers, because they're the ones that will be going for employment. So that's a good source of intelligence. But my question about the multiply scheme, has it been value for money, and how is this has this been shown, and have you any examples of success stories?
Okay, Paul.
Yeah, if I can just come in terms of some of the sort of documentation that we've attached as part of the appendices. There is a sort of a review of the programme, to 22-25 programme. There is a section in there on the sort of projects, including those from a multiply perspective. With the first part of the programme, the 3 years, there was a ring-fenced amount of funding that had to be spent, and it is unfortunate that we did have to return some of that funding because we couldn't deliver the number of projects that the funding was there to support. So as part of the current programme, we have reduced the multiply programme content of the investment plan to reflect what was successful over the first 3 years. So those projects that remain in his current plan are based on the feedback from the Multiply team of what delivered success. And it was certainly around some of the softer interventions, the very much the introduction to sort of literacy in terms of numeracy, which is what the program was designed for. So that has been taken on board in the current program. But if you next time you're in the building, if you want to pick up a hard copy, they're on the front of the desk at the moment.
Right, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Next up, Councillor Thomas, please.
Thanks, Chair. I don't think this question has been answered, although Marina touched on town centres. My question was how was the SPF funding been utilised to support our town centres?
Okay. Leader, I know you've done a lot of work around the town centres with them.
Thank you, Gary. Yeah, thanks, Councillor Thomas. This is the pack, by the way. Marina, if you wanted to pick one up, or anybody, just come into the office. It's quite glossy, quite a lot of information in there, but it's in an appendix. I suppose from my perspective as a cabinet member for Regeneration with town centres, that the SPF delivered quite a substantial amount of support. I mean, I'm just going to pick out a few examples here. Certainly in terms of employment support, we created 80 jobs, safeguarded 1,809 jobs. We've got public realm and general improvements in the town centres. Enhanced events programme, which I know all members strongly support in their local communities. New events in Blackwood and Ystrad generating additional footfall of close to 90,000. Continued support for meanwhile use spaces programme and introduced meanwhile use spaces to several towns across the county borough. Free Wi-Fi in Blackwood, Risca, Ystrad, Bargoed, Rumney, Caerphilly and Newbridge. There's more information in there, but I think from my own perspective, we have done a lot of work in town centres at a time where town centres across the country have obviously struggled with lack of footfall, with changing consumer habits. It's underpinned what we've been able to do in terms of our events programme, put on really good events across the county borough. So yeah, in terms of this programme, Councillor Thomas, has been very positive for our town centres.
Okay.
Just go back a sec, Gar.
Yeah.
Chair.
Okay.
Just on the numbers there, it's great to hear that, we've started employment for 80 people, but it's more pleasing where we secured a massive number of jobs. So that's good news, and thanks for that, Councillor Pritchard.
Leave it. Okay. Okay, good point. Councillor Priest, I'll bring you in next.
Fine, thank you, Chair. It's really just to, I had an email just asking permission. I got to leave the meeting.
Yeah, that's okay. No problem. Have a good night, Denver.
Thank you, Chair. Good night, all.
Okay, Councillor McConnell, please.
Thank you, Chair. In terms of the Pride in Place 2 million recurring over the next 10 years, is there any guidance on what the funding can be used for, please?
Lead it.
Thanks, Amanda. Frustratingly enough, no, as I said in my introduction, there is no official guidance, despite the fact that it's been speculated that it can be used to underpin statutory services over recent weeks and months. I have lobbied, as officers have lobbied, members of Parliament, Welsh Government and UK Government ministers for that, for the official guidance. It hasn't come yet. And I don't think any council in Wales has received the official guidance. As I said, it's not helpful to us. We need to plan for the future. But no, despite the lobbying and despite the questions, we haven't received it yet. But when we do receive it, obviously we will work within the criteria set out by UK government to see what we can do with that 20 million over 10 years. But just to clarify, we have not received the official guidance as yet. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, can I add a supplementary there? If we have no guidance, how can we be 100% sure if we are going to get that money over the next 10 years? Because a change of government can change, They could say, right, we're stopping it. So can we really, commit something to £2 million each year, and then they pull it from under us? Then where do we find them funds? Leader and then Paul.
We're confident that the money is coming. Yet, as I said, the official guidance is yet to be received, but it will be 20 million over 10 years on top of the 1.5, which we have got more of an idea on. And as I said, we will form the Regeneration Board to decide how to implement that funding. That's 100% capital. There's speculation over what the 20 million over 10 years may be, but I don't want to get into speculation. I want the official guidance so we can sit down and we can work out within the criteria how we spend the money. So yeah, I await the official guidance.
Okay, Paul.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Yeah, what we do know, what we have seen is there's a prospectus that's been sort of pushed with some sort of limited information in terms of the programme. What we know is that a neighbourhood board will be set up and tasked with delivering a 10-year vision and a 4-year investment plan. So that 4-year investment plan would need to identify what those sort of projects are that the board wants to sort of endorse and support. There's no guarantee of the funding over 10 years. That's the vision that we've been indicated that this funding is available over a 10-year period. That could change, but that's the commitment that's been made by the current government. This programme, in terms of support for neighbourhoods, was a previous government's initiative that's been continued and adapted and changed. So I'm presuming that there will be some sort of ongoing commitment to developing communities through this sort of programme.
Okay, thank you. Was that enough, Amanda?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Colin? Chair. Colin?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Thanks, Chair. A couple of questions I had here, Mark, have disappeared because problems with the computer. I've had to reload it, so there we are. Anyway, obviously the money is welcome. It appears that had it not been for a 40% cut, we might have had 35 million rather than 20. Oh, sorry, I meant to start by congratulating the leader on his election. As long as I had, Jamie.
Yeah, Colin, I got the first question. I got it written down. We read it down what you asked at the pre-meeting.
Yeah, I covered that, Chair.
Oh, that's okay.
What I wanted to ask is in fact, I think it has been answered, but there were suggestions recently that some of this money could be used towards our library service. Do we have any indications of whether or not that is actually possible?
Thank you,
Leader then, Paul.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Mann. First of all, there's a meeting next week to determine who the new leader is. So I just want to say that. Although it's.
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood.
No, don't worry. Anyway,
from comments earlier, I thought you'd been elected.
No, there hasn't been a meeting unless I've dreamt it.
I'll congratulate you again then if you get it. Okay.
Yeah, no, Colin, just to reaffirm, we have not received the official guidance, so there's no way that anything can be committed until we receive the official guidance. We've chased it numerous times, so I'm frustrated. I need the guidance in front of me in order then to communicate to the council and to the residents of the borough what the money can be spent on. So, as I've said, when we receive all the official guidance, that will go out into the public domain, and then we will know what we can spend the money on, or incidentally, what we can't.
So it does seem to be more towards capital funding than other things from what we've been hearing.
Paul?
Yes, yeah, I think we understand it's around about 75% capital, 25% revenue over the programme, and specifically targeted at a defined geography. If you look at the first round of awards, Wrexham, Cumbrawn, Rhyl, Barry and Merthyr, they were the sort of designated geographic areas within those local authorities, so quite specific and quite targeted. That doesn't allow for investment outside of those defined areas.
I did bring that up at the pre-meeting that areas seem to be picking a town, or they've been told it's a certain town that's going to get all this funding, over the next. But how would that work over the next 10 years? So let's say let's say there was an area in Oz that was picked for the next 10 years. Are they going to get the whole 20 million? And rest
That's
offers
our
go
understanding.
depart.
Yeah, that's
you
our
know?
understanding. Yeah, those 5 towns that have been determined in this first round will have 10 years of funding at that targeted defined geography.
Wow.
As
Newbridge is going to have a good 10 years then. Leader?
Yeah.
Acting leader, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Paul is right. I mean, that was based on the previous round. If that was to follow the same, then that would be the same here. Again, I'm not going to speculate on whether it's a town or anything like that. I will do my talking when the official guidance lands on our desks. So then we can literally say what it can be spent on, what it can't be. It seems likely the UK government will have a lot of the say over where it's spent. But look, I'm awaiting that guidance. I'm frustrated that it hasn't come yet, and we'll wait and see when the guidance comes, what we can do with it and what we can't.
Okay, thank you. Okay, members, no one else? Okay, so let me just go through the recommendations are on page 88 of your packs. 3.1, the Scrutiny Committee note the details of the UK Shared Prosperity Fund update and first quarter monitoring report and the opportunities for the programme to contribute to the Council's own place shaping transformation and regeneration's agendas. Part 2, recognise the progress officers and stakeholders have made in mobilising a significant investment programme within the time constraints afforded by the funding programme. And we have done that tonight, so thank you all members, thank you officers. You can leave if you don't want to stay, but it is a great report next, so it might be worth staying. Right, members, our last bit of business tonight. Item 10, Corporate Services, Regeneration and Miscellaneous Finance 25-26, the Budget and Monitoring Report, Quarter 2. I think I got it down here as Nigel, but I believe it's Councillor Elena Sterner.
Thank you, Chair. This report is to ensure members are appraised of the latest financial position for the 25-26 year for the Corporate and Regen Directorate and Miscellaneous Finance. This report informs members of projected revenue expenditure as at quarter 2. Members are asked to note the content of the report. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, members. Members, we have a new member of staff, Sarah Rose. She's the Deputy Director of Finance and Services and the Deputy Section 151 Officer. Welcome to the authority, and you're going to enjoy now. I'm joking. Okay. Who have we got first? I'm trying to think.
Yourself, Chair, with that.
Okay, right. Yeah, I'm first. Lucky for me. On page 251, table 2, and 5.4.3, 5.4.4. I'm a bit confused now, Sam, because one bit you're telling me that we're going to meet our transformation target, then we're not going to meet it, then we are going to meet it. So can you explain to me, are we or are we not going to meet, or in the I know we don't, it's not the end of the thing yet, but according to this, are we or are we not going to meet our target?
Okay, I can explain that, thank you. So as you know, there was a £5.3 million transformation target that was set as part of the 25-26 budget.
Yes.
Now, so far, savings of £944,000 have been approved to date, and a further 1.164 million have been identified and forecast as at the point that this report was written. So that leaves 2.442 million showing as an overspend in the reported position. So work is being done, and savings have got to be worked through, and due diligence has to be undertaken to make sure that they're not only realistic but achievable, and there's no unintended consequences from them. Work is still ongoing, and the endeavour is to fully deliver the 5.3 million in 25-26. But until those savings are concrete and have gone through that due diligence process, we do report them as a red saving.
So that was 4.4.5, where it says that there. But, you know, it is quite confusing. You know, we're not all financial experts, you know. So it is a bit confusing when you're reading through it. Yeah, we're going to need it. We're not going to need it. But yeah, we are going to need it, you know, and it's just a bit confusing. But thank you for clearing that up, that I did read it right, that we are hoping to still meet it. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, as you said, we are still hoping to meet it, and I'll take that on board, and we'll look at when drafting these reports in future, making sure it's easier to read.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Marina, I think you were, yeah. You're on mute.
I was just saying that I did have the question at the pre-meeting. The amount for each item service may not be material, but put together they're quite material. And if there seems to be an item that is has a greater percentage of that total sum, might it be beneficial to know what it is? For example, you could put a link if it's too much to put in a report. Put a link so we can access that information if we want to access that information. That's one of my questions. I've got another one here as well.
Right, Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. Councillor Charlton-Dawson, can you just clarify which bit of the report you're referring to with that question? Because I'm a little bit confused.
Oh gosh, yeah. I haven't put what it's relating to, have I? I don't know if this is to do with it might not be this report, actually. It might be the information item, which is obviously the information item.
Right, did you have another question?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It's about that table that you've just mentioned, and it was on page 545.
251.
Let me just... yeah, table 2, the one you just mentioned about transformation target. What is that? Is that in relation to? Is that the cost of the project to put it in place? I don't know what that. What is transformation target related to in the table 2?
Mark.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Charlton-Dawson, that is related to the projects that we have in train and transformation. Some of, as Sarah said, some have been delivered, some are nearly delivered, others are yet to be delivered this financial year.
No, not the whole table. I'm just talking about the target. What does that relate to?
Yeah, I'm talking about the transformation target too.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So that they are transformation projects that are in train. So, for example, you know, there was home to school transport was one of those. There have been various leisure projects, etc., parks, fleet. All of those contribute to that transformation target. Some of those have been delivered. Some of those will be delivered. Others are being worked through. You know, and will be delivered later in the year. Because obviously this is only a Q2 report.
All right. So these are. Oh, right. I get it. Yeah. Right.
Well, that's where the colour coding is, Marina. The colour coding.
Yeah, I understand the colour coding. It's not the colour coding. I'm just. But I see what I see adds together. So one's the proposed savings and one's. Anyway, is there any year-on-year savings in this, or is it just what they are all one-offs?
No, when we make a budget saving,
yes,
that is a year-on-year saving. Take
all right.
the budget. That is a year-on-year saving.
Brilliant. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Kerry, I seen your hand up. Are you still?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I did have a question. I think it was kind of answered just in the last answer, in answer to Marina's question. It's just, yeah, in relation to, I think it would help if things weren't lumped together the way they are in the report, and then officers giving numbers then verbally in the meetings does make your head spin. Numbers make, you know, everyone's head spin, obviously. But yes, so in relation to sort of what's actually done under what heading, especially like as you mentioned at the start with regard to the transformation programme in terms of what it's achieving and whether it is achieving its plans. When you look at things, when it's lumped in together, you've got transformation, digital and procurement as a heading in that in the brag table, and then you look through the report trying to find, well, where's the digital and where's the transformation, etc., obviously, which is the whole council-wide endeavour. It would help with some of this reporting if highlights and lowlights, for example, were clearer in the report, so that we could then get something, our teeth into it a bit better, if you like, so we can praise where praise is due, and then find out why if things aren't as they should be.
Okay. Sarah, do you want to come in there?
Thank you. Just a couple of points on that. So regarding the transformation savings and the numbers I've quoted, they are actually in the report in paragraphs 5.3.15 and 5.3.16. So they are broken down. And with regards to how the table is produced with the headings, those are the services. But if you look at the appendices, you can see the breakdown of the numbers, which you can refer to the text as well. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, then no one else has got their hands up. Okay then, members. I think you got away nice and lightly there, Sarah. I'm sure Lisa and that were telling you we were a nasty lot down here and keep asking questions, but
Chair.
Well, I spoke too soon. Here comes Colin. Yeah.
I lost connection. You'd be sorry to know
right,
I've just rejoined, Chair.
Right, off you go, Colin. Sorry about that, Sarah.
I know all over the ready place because I haven't got the right thing. But the and apology if I asked something that's already been answered while I was away. 247 on Fws Caerphilly. It seems that we seem to be relying on grants again to actually make the place pay. I don't know whether anyone's got any comment on that one.
Anyone? Mark?
Yes, thanks, Councillor Mann. Obviously, Foss, it was his first year of trading. We've recently changed to a new market operator. So, it was always going to be a kind of a trial year, not a trial year process, that's the wrong term, but I'm sure you know what I mean, in terms of, the settling Foss down, settling Foss in. We do anticipate that that picture will change moving forward.
Okay, thanks, Mark. 249, I think it is, on 248, sorry, Blackwood Miners. I think we all know there's some sort of consultation going on. Is there any idea when there'll be an outcome for that and what the prospects are?
Alan?
I'll pick up on that, thanks, Chair. Yeah, I think the question relates to the report that we've commissioned from our wing consultants. We've had the draft final report where we're looking through that at present. We hope to bring a report to Cabinet as trustees this side of Christmas, if possible.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Paul. I think it was Paul, was it?
No, it was Alan Dallimore.
Oh, sorry. I don't have the screen up either, so I'm just going on the report. Okay, thanks, Alan. 5.3.7 on the Sahawi Enterprise Way, the PFI. It's talking about the sinking fund. my understanding is the sinking fund does reduce as time goes on, but this is talking about a sort of a blip in the sinking fund, and then it's going to sort of come back. I don't know whether anyone can give a bit more explanation on that, because it's not the way I understand it normally works.
Anyone? Mark?
I can't give you an answer now, Councillor Mann, but I can certainly get one for you.
Okay, I thought maybe one of the finance people might be able to shed some light on it.
To be fair to Sarah, she's fairly new, so probably doesn't understand the history of SEW.
I don't even know what the sinking fund is. What is it?
So it's a fund to, so in the life of a road, for example,
Yeah.
so SEW is a bit of a weird one. It's a PFI road, but the company that provided the road, continue to provide the road, subcontract the maintenance back to us. So they pay us to maintain it. So there will be key points in a road's life where things like resurfacing, doesn't happen for many years, but then all of a sudden there's big expenditure. So my understanding is the sinking fund was put in place to deal with those, to smooth that kind of change in maintenance over time. But I will get you a fuller answer, Councillor Mann. I'll speak to Marcus in the morning. That's okay.
Thanks, Mark. A more cynical explanation is it's money towards the vast profits that these contractors make. But there we are. That's another version. I don't know. I think you were going to ask on 251, Chair. I don't know whether you did. Well,
I did, yes.
I wasn't.
Yes.
So did we get an explanation on what was happening?
We are still
there?
hoping to meet our targets. Yes.
So the total of nearly, what is it, getting on for £4 million in the amber and the red.
It was on 251. We're hoping to achieve the 5.3 million.
So the figures in the amber and the red are going to be resolved. Are they, Buzz Ahmed?
Yeah, they think it's going to be resolved as time goes by. Sarah, do you want to give them a quick explanation?
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to run through that again. So, as I said earlier, there is, of the 5.3 million, there's 944,000 to date for where savings have been approved against this target. A further 1.164 million has been identified and forecasted, and we're currently reporting a 2.442 million overspend. So the reason for that is because savings have to be worked through. This is a project. Due diligence has to be undertaken to make sure savings are realistic and achievable and there's no unintended consequences from those. And the work is ongoing, but the endeavour is that the full 5.3 million will be achieved in 25-26.
Okay, thanks for that. Another one, Chair, was the 2.53 overspend on the miscellaneous finance. I've got 5.3 here, but I'm trying to reach out. I'm trying to recheck which of the 5.3 it was, but I'm sure somebody can spot it. Do we know exactly why this is happening?
About the overspend, yeah, Sarah.
So that overspend, miscellaneous finance covers obviously a number of areas. One of those areas includes the transformation savings target. So as I said, just over 2.4 million is showing as a pressure in the budget at the moment until those savings are approved. So that is obviously a significant part of that 2.5 million overspend. Thank you.
So you're optimistic that will be resolved once, are you?
The endeavour is that the full 5.3 million will be achieved, and obviously as savings are approved and are achieved, that overspend will reduce. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Dagmar. Last one, Chair, is the, I note we've now got quantifiable sum for the short change the authority had, or local government in general had for the national insurance contributions. We were initially told it was going to be fully covered, weren't we? But it appears that is not the case. We've had a far better deal than charities, of course, who had nothing, but we've still been shortchanged on that one.
Yeah, I think we were all disappointed in that there, but nothing we can do, Colin. They haven't given us it, so we can't spend it.
No, there we are. Okay, thanks, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I don't see anyone else, so we can finish now. So
apologies for delaying you, Chair.
That's okay, Colin. You can't do anything about the internet. Okay, so the recommendations are on page 243 of your packs. Corporate Services and Regeneration Scrutiny Committee members are requested to note the contents of this report and the detailed budget and monitoring pages that follow in respect of the Corporate and Regeneration Directorate and Miscellaneous Finance, which all fall within the remit of this Scrutiny Committee. And I think we've done this evening. Thank you all, officers and cabinet members and acting leader for coming along. Can I just, I don't know, Colin and Gary, is it official that you saw the joint deputy leaders applied?
That is official, Chair.
It is official. Oh well, that's good.
Yeah. Such a big job, such a big job. None of us could do it by ourselves.
Yeah. Congratulations to you both. And members, this is our last scrutiny before Christmas. So let me wish you all a Merry Christmas. Okay? So,
a
bit
Happy New
early,
Year.
but you know. Have a good night, everyone.
Okay.
Night.
No start.